Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IndieZoNe. My name is Kathy. Over the course of the past several weeks, if you have been following the Kohberger case, you know that the issue of Mr. Kohberger's request for a Franks hearing has been a pretty hot topic in the true crime community amongst many of the content creators' offerings. It's been talked about in the mainstream media. We also did an episode of the IndieZoNe a few days ago on the Jerome Franks versus Delaware case. It's a United States Supreme Court case that created the test for a Franks hearing that Mr. Kohberger is attempting to persuade Judge Hitler to grant to him. And if you have an interest in what a Franks hearing is, what Mr. Kohberger's burden of proof is to even qualify for such a hearing, please go to the episode here on the IndieZoNe on YouTube and you can learn more about it. And I also provided a link where you can look up the actual case and read it for yourself. One of the items that was released on the public docket on the 12th of December, it was dated the 6th, but the items, several of them, were not released until the 12th, and these were all the state of Idaho's responses in opposition to various motions to suppress evidence for the Franks hearing, to compel discovery, that the state of Idaho objected to all. One of the items that was released on the 12th, dated the 6th, is a motion, a stipulated motion. That means it was agreed to by the defense to keep the exhibits in the memorandum as to the state of Idaho's response in opposition to the motion to suppress certain surveillance information that the state successfully obtained in a pre-arrest warrant. And that relates to a pen register, trap, and trace device. It is addressed in the Affidavit of Probable Cause. And I wanted to turn to the Affidavit of Probable Cause and just point out to you how many pages of that Affidavit of Probable Cause that led to the order finding probable cause and the arrest warrant all were issued December 29th, 2022. PCA upon which those orders were granted is 18 pages long. From pages 11 through page 18, which is the signature block where Detective Payne states that based on the foregoing, I'm asking for an arrest warrant for Mr. Kohberger regarding the crimes that occurred at 1122 King Road. So it's 11 to 18 addresses cell phone information that was returned via 2 warrants and how the Moscow Police Department applied the information they received from AT&T, who is stated to be Mr. Kohberger's cell phone carrier for his alleged cell phone, which is referred to by the final 4 digits, the 8458 phone. Just how important it was to the arrest of Mr. Kohberger. If you go to the bottom of page 11, the final 2 sentences, Detective Payne says, as part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants. So these are pre-arrest search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilized cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on, and we got to go to the next page to continue, November 13th, 2022, between 3 and 5 a.m. This time frame was crucial to the Moscow Police Department because elsewhere in the PCA, Detective Payne writes that investigators believe, they estimate the timeline of the crimes to have occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. So that's why this 3 to 5 a.m. time frame is crucial to them. It goes on to state, after determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 2015 white Elantra, that is what is referred to earlier in the PCA as suspect vehicle 1, and the 8458 phone, that is Mr. Kohberger's cell phone number, the last 4 digits, as alleged in the PCA. Investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone in these returns of the search warrants from AT&T, ladies and gentlemen, did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 and 5 a.m. The next paragraph goes into Mr. Payne applying what he says is based on his training, experience, and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cell telephone records as part of the investigations. He has concluded that individuals can either leave their cell phones at a different location before committing a crime or turn their cell telephones off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. So this is how he's explaining in this affidavit that will later be presented to Judge Megan E. Marshall for the issuance of the order of probable cause and the warrant that Detective Payne is asking for. This is the reason to explain why, according to Detective Payne, there wasn't any utilization between those critical hours of 3 to 5 a.m. And this is again November 13th, 2022, the date of the crimes. It goes on to say later on this page, on December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th at 12 a.m. and November 14th at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone held by the phone provider AT&T. And he explains here in parentheses that this time period, he's asking for it because this is approximately 24 hours preceding and 24 hours following the time of the homicides. So this is the first search warrant that he's talking about here on this page. December 23rd, 2022, he applied for and was granted a search warrant for this approximately 2-day time period, the 12th to the 14th. On December 23rd, 2022, this is the bottom of page 12, Detective Payne writes that pursuant to that search warrant, I received records for the 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicated that the 8458 phone is subscribed to Brian Kohberger. So now he makes the confirmation that this is Mr. Kohberger's phone. Added an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since June 23rd, 2022. So this would be approximately 6 months or so from the time that he is applying for, that's Detective Payne, and reviewing the information returned from AT&T. It goes on to say on the next page, and I am now referring to the top of page 13, these records also included historical cell site location information, CSLI. You've probably heard that term before. This is what it stands for. CSLI is historical cell site location information. For the 8458 phone, after receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI special agent that is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, CAST. You might have heard this term also thrown about in the case. That's what it stands for. CAST is Cellular Analysis Survey Team. So what they're trying to do here is to track suspect vehicle 1 travels via the travels of this 8458 phone, where it was located, using CSLI historical data and utilizing the resources of an FBI special agent that specializes in CAST and is certified in CAST. And he goes on the rest of the page to talk about where that phone traveled based on this information that was returned from this first search warrant. Now, if you go down to page 16, the next few pages are going to talk about the travels associated with this 8458 phone as Detective Payne and his team were able to ascertain. There's a couple of maps in here. But then getting to the top of page 16. On December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's historical CSLI from June 23rd, 2022. So this is approximately a 6-month period. Prospective location information and a pen register trap and trace device on the 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims in this case prior to this offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims' associates before or after the alleged offense, any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, 2022, the location of the white Elantra registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger. And then for the next couple of pages, he continues his analysis and provides another map at the bottom of page 17. And then he goes into, in the last page, discussing the results as he has analyzed of this search warrant return of information. So now this is where the information regarding the pen register trap and trace device that is now the subject of a motion to suppress, and some believe also possibly part of the motion for a Franks hearing. If you would like to review this information, please go to the top of the Kohberger case on the Idaho Judicial Cases of Interest. It is the first document there, and also the stipulated motion to seal the exhibits in support of the state's objection to the motion to suppress this matter is also located on the docket. It is dated December 6th, 2024. This will now conclude this episode of the IndieZoNe here on YouTube. Thank you all for joining us here today.